Hey, so I'm hanging out with one of my friends today. He's one of the best in the game of mortgage origination. Been in it for a long time. Yeah, thanks for showing up, David. I really appreciate you coming, man. Yeah, so today I want us to talk about this particular mortgage product. They call it No Doc. You don't need no income. I'm like, what? What is that? Who's gonna borrow your money without income? So I really want you to kind of talk a little bit more about it today, expatiate on it, and I'll be here to kind of ask questions so it can benefit our audience on what these products are all about.
Thanks, man. My head almost popped when you said best in the game. So generally, you have lenders who lend for investors. As a lender, they're not too concerned about your income. They're not concerned about the general things your conventional loan will require. What they're particularly interested in is the property that you're buying. So all they're really concerned in is the actual property. Is the property cash flowing? Does the mortgage cover, does the rent coming from the property cover the mortgage, right? Once you could hit those parameters, they really don't care about W 2 or taxes or things of that nature. So that's why it's a no doc loan. Mhm.
That's very insightful. So I guess my follow up question will be, okay, why would anybody want to take that much risk on you? So it doesn't mean you're gonna have to have a lot of them payments, at least just to kind of have some type of skin in the game. I'd like for you to shed more light on that.
You're right on. You're right on. So if I'm an investor and I am giving you a property, I do want you to have skin in the game all the time. So for a no doc loan in this instance, yes, your minimum down payment for the most part will be 20%. And there are credit requirements at some point. The lower your credit, the higher the down payment would be. So those are the variables that are looked at in order to determine how much you bring. But if you have good credit, 680, 700 and up, all you have to do is bring 20% down payment to access this loan.
And is it also safe to assume that these types of mortgage products, it has to be an investment property? You can't use it for your primary home. Is that accurate or not?
I can't tell you what to do,
Okay.
but absolutely yes. If you're going by the books,
Yeah.
you absolutely it has to be an investment property. That's the whole purpose of this loan. Okay? Because you're going to look at a rent schedule, which shows us what is this house going to rent for. You're not the one that's going to come up with the number that the tenant is going to pay. The appraiser comes up with that number. And they basically say that based on the average in this neighborhood, this property will rent for $2,000. So hopefully your mortgage is less than that.
So I have another very interesting question for you. So of course we are in a very high interest rate environment. Rate very high. You already mentioned this thing has to break even on cash flow, right?
Yeah.
So these things are not cash flowing anymore. It's almost like negative cash flow in some instances. So how have you been able to help your own clients in those type of situations?
Well, Kunle, welcome to the struggle of my business. This season has been very, very difficult. Now, some properties still cash flow, especially in Texas, right? But investors have caught on to it because initially, when rates jumped up, I'll say 9 out of 10 properties were not cash flowing. Okay. So, what investors did, because they still have to make money, is they lowered the standard of the DSCR. Okay. So where it had to equal one, which means your rent had to equal the mortgage payment, they've reduced that by 20% for the most part. 80%. Yes. And a lot of times they even go a little bit lower. But guess where they're going to hit you in? The rate. The interest rate is going to go slightly higher if that property does not cash flow.
So they have to balance that one out.
You got it.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. So I have something else to add. So in our home business, one of the things we're doing to help our clients in this type of situation is that we ask them that if they have more than payment, then we can use that to negotiate better rates for the client. And on top of that, we try to get the seller to buy it on the rate, or in some instances, give extra money for the client, just my point, to actually use towards their closing cost. So it won't be too much cost for them. So these are the type of things we're doing just to make the deal work for our clients in a high interest rate environment. But I don't think I have much for you, except if you have anything else to add to this. Do you have anything, David?
DSCR is great. DSCR is a great product. Um, I recommend you come in with the expectation to put a little bit more than the 20% down. It's strictly for investors. There are a lot of benefits to doing it. For instance, there are certain DSCR loans that you can do that don't reflect on your credit. All right. There's certain DSCR loans that you could close in your business name. And for the majority of the rest, people just buy it under their names. But it's great because if you want to expand your portfolio in general, don't worry about I need to make $200,000, $300,000 in order to own 10 properties. You could own more than 10 properties without even us looking at your income. So that's the main key factor of it. You as an agent, you have to be the one to find those quality properties that will cash flow because they are properties that will cash flow. Not all properties don't. Typically, the higher the purchase price is on a property, the less cash flow you would get. So if you keep it within a certain range, we see that those work out just fine. Yep.
And there's something I kind of forgot to add. So one of the things we do again to help our clients is we just help them to filter their criteria based on how good location is and situation whereby the tax rate is gonna be very low.
Right.
So that can like almost compensate for the high interest rate. So essentially what we're doing is like we are moving levers around to make the deal worthwhile for them. So you know how you know how it is when you're like, maybe you're like in instrumentation, you're trying to get a certain sound. So you
Mic
take
check,
it.
mic check.
All right, mic check. That's correct. So you can like
Yes.
go up, down, and until you get the desired sound
Yep.
or melody or whatnot that you want. But this is very good. I really appreciate you helping our people, giving them value. We really appreciate it. But how can people reach you? You know, people want to do their mortgage or whatever. How can they reach out to you if you don't mind, putting that one out?
Well, follow my Instagram. You're gonna put that on the link. It's Dave Tomiwa underscore loans. My contact number is listed below, and my email as well will be listed below. But I'm reachable. My team is reachable. Give us a holler if you have any questions. We got you.
What is a good number to reach you?
832 245 5987.
Thank you. Thank you, David.
All right, brother.
This is great. You should come back.
For sure.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.